Hello, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Um, it's I don't know why I laugh. I guess one of the symptoms of immediate stress is sometimes you chuckle or laugh or um, so yeah. I feel like I'm going into an uncomfortable conversation here, but I'm gonna just jump right in and talk about this topic. I really don't like talking about it, but um, I'd say right after Hurricane Irma, I want to say it was I'm trying to remember the exact timeline, so just bear with me a little bit. But I was working at a bait shop in Benita Springs, Florida, and I used to, oh yeah, forgot to, forgot to, usually I'm pretty good on hitting the airplane mode, but the airplane has landed. All right, now I fixed that. But um, I used to work a lot of holidays because I was a single dude, and some of the other there wasn't a whole lot of people that worked where I worked, but I always offered to work on Thanksgiving, and one because I knew it was really slow and I could get paid. You know, the guy I worked for was cheap, and he had. I'm just going to say he didn't pay time and a half, but it was more like a branding reputation type uh, thing that like they're pretty much always open, whatever. So I'm like, all right, no, I know. I'm like, no problem. It seemed like every year, you know, I had to work, So, but I was not had to work, but I offered to work. I would, offer a abbreviated schedule. So on this one particular year, I want to say it was right after Hurricane Irma. Don't quote me on the time, the year, but like 5 or 6 years ago, whatever it was, and probably like 6 years ago. I don't know what it was, but I'm uh, I'm there on Thanksgiving, and I'm working by myself, extremely slow. It's probably not even profitable to be open on that holiday, but it's part of your reputation that you're always open. You're reliable, and so I get that. So I agree with that, so to speak. So it, no big deal. I go in the morning, I clean the shrimp tanks. That usually takes about a half hour or 40 minutes, whatever it is. And trying to get everything up in order, running well, and I'm like, no problem. This is like Thanksgiving. I'm gonna kick back, drink a couple cold snacks, watch the Detroit Lions lose. At 12:30. Kickoffs 12:30. Watch them lose, and around whatever it is, 4 o'clock, whatever it is. Watch the Dallas Cowboys play, and so I'm thinking life's good. It's okay. I'm getting paid just to kick back, drink cold snacks, to do very little work. Everything's good. So I'm kicked back. I don't know what time it was. I want to say it was maybe 1 in the afternoon. And mind you, I'm in a bait shop that is totally empty, like no customers, hardly anybody. A lot of people go to the beach. Nobody's really out shopping. It's like, it's a family day, obviously, most people are going to dinner or hosting their own, Thanksgiving Day events. I get that. It's all cool. Well, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I realize, like, oh, gee, money, you have a problem. I realize like everything is going black. And I've tried to describe this a couple times previously to people, and I don't know how to, but basically everything is going black. and I don't know if people know what a kaleidoscope is, but basically that's what my vision turned into all of a sudden. Like both eyes was like trying to look through a kaleidoscope that was getting very dark. So I literally was like, all right, I the first thing I thought was, all right, I know a little bit about first aid and some medical. Like I'm not a doctor or anything. Like I'm not an EMT or anything like that. But thinking, all right, my initial thought was like, based on what I know, my limited knowledge, I'm thinking, all right, I might be having a stroke. So what I did was I realized if I had a stroke in the bait shop where nobody was coming in, I, I, I was probably going to expire or be permanently disabled or whatever. So what I did was I literally I probably only had like 10% vision, maybe 15% max. So what I did was I was using my hands like a blind person would basically, and I was feeling my way. I knew the layout of that bait shop because I worked there for so many damn years. So I knew, I was feeling that, and then I knew where the front door was. I could hear the road traffic. It sat really close to the main road called Bonita Beach Road. So I get to the front door and I go outside and I figure, well, if I drop, like have a full blown episode of either possibly losing my life or having a stroke, or at least somebody driving by might see me. I knew inside where we were very slow was not a very good high probability of my survival. So I go out there and I just kind of like chilled out as much as I could. And I'd say about after like 30 or 40 minutes, I started to feel better. Um, I still felt very like lightheaded and dizzy. It was very, very awkward. It was the very first time that ever happened to me. And I was like really worried. So when I came back in, I finally did come back in, and I realized like I would I was pretty much had the freedom to lock up whenever I wanted to on that particular holiday, and I was going to wait till pretty much like halftime at the Cowboys game. I forget what time they started, 3:30 or 4. I forget what it was, but I figured around 5 o'clock I was going to try and close the doors and just head on my way and just you know that was prior to this episode. So I go in there and I'm drinking water and I'm like really worried. I don't know, like I don't want to have a stroke while I'm driving a vehicle and run into a family of 5 on Thanksgiving or anything crazy like that. So I tried to wait for my body to recuperate. It finally did. And like I said, that was on a Thursday, Thanksgiving. And sure as heck, 8 days later, bam, real, I got hit real hard. Episode number 2, where it was Friday. It was right around noon. I'm trying to remember the time exactly, but I realized like, oh man, I'm like this is worse. But I had people around me at that point, and then I people were in different parts, and then I just kind of like calmly mentioned like, hey, I think I got a problem. And I'm not trying to tag on to a Robert Arrington episode, but our episodes are kind of like very similar. Like his was probably a little bit worse. But so I realized like all of a sudden now I can't see, I'm blind. So I'm really worried. So like I say, hey, I, I think I need medical help. I'm really worried. I said I can't see anything, and the people are talking to me. A couple people are talking to me, and I'm like, I feel okay. I just can't see. I feel dizzy, but I just can't see. And so I remember talking to them, but the whole time I'm thinking like, man, this is what a crappy way to go out, is having a stroke. You don't want to be permanently um, maimed or paralyzed on one side of your body. You can't talk or anything like that. So I'm thinking like, man, please don't let this happen to me. And so they're kind of like talking to me a little bit. And I said, don't, don't call an ambulance. Don't call the paramedics. So I said, first of all, I can't pay for the damn thing. At that time, I think an ambulance ride was like almost 800 hours. It's crazy. It's like, no, it's like, I don't have medical care. So let's ride this out. So I said, just monitor me, please. And I said, last week when this happened, it cleared up in about 35, 40 minutes, whatever it was. And I said, let's hope that happens again. And so I was, I started rehydrating with water, and it like almost like to clockwork. After about 35, 40 minutes, I started feeling better. I gained my vision back. I was very, very worried, very worried. And um, so there was one guy that I was working with, one guy that was in there kind of like on his day off, just trying to help restock a little bit of t-shirt, whatever. And then, so after I felt like I had all my faculties back about me, um, what I did was next was probably not the smartest thing, but economically, I did what I had to do financially. So I said, hey, I need to go to the clinic. There's a clinic. It was about, I don't know, 10 miles up, 8 miles up the road, whatever it was. I said, I really need to go to the clinic. I said, just follow me. And it's I always laugh because I know better than this. But at that point in time, I, I'm still in a position where I can't incur a lot of big bills because you're never going to rebound. But it's like a drunk driver telling you, well, just follow me home, make sure I get home. Okay. Well, yeah, if you hit a telephone pole, me being behind you is not really going to help you. It just going to call the police quicker, So it's like I was kind of like in that mentality. And so this coworker of mine followed me to the clinic. I got there. Uh, it was a long, drawn out process, and then they want to, that's what pisses me off about medical care is you get there and you're like you're feeling like you're going to die. You have all these problems, and they want to ask you all this, like they just want to talk. Do you have insurance? No. That's why I'm here to clinic. It's just like it's so drawn out. You feel like the screening process is almost killing you because they're preventing you from getting immediate attention. And it was really crazy. So then it was weird. Like doctors said a bunch of stuff and just then they want to send you to all these specialists that you can't pay for, so it's just like, that's what I hate about the healthcare system is, you need assistance. You can't go to a specialist without going to like a primary care physician, which would be like a clinic or something like that. And the clinic's going to charge you. Now the specialist is going to bill you and charge you, and they always want money up front. if you don't have health care, you're like, you got to sell your wife's diamond ring or something. It's just crazy. It's almost like the medical mafia is how I would liken it to. But so, he lectured me on a few things. And I'm like, here, just help me get better. Just, it was just got stupid. But over the years since then, I've had quite a few, I don't know how to describe it, like blackout moments. Not blackout like falling down drunk, but where my vision goes dark. And I can feel it coming on at times. And when I'm driving, which is usually my primary occupation, uh, it's weird. Like at times it's like a kaleidoscope, like I said, or picture. If you ever watch a sporting event where the drops of water get on the screen, the magnifying glass that they use to film a ball game, it's almost like that. Like you can't see clearly. It's almost like you're trying to look through droplets of water. It's not real clear. So when I feel that coming on, I usually, if I'm driving, I usually slow down, pull over to the right lane, and then try and figure out, all right, I don't know how much time I'm going to have if I have to find an exit route. If I, if if this is the big one, at least I don't want to be in the, hit southbound traffic if I'm going north or vice versa. So usually I try and pick an exit possibility. So usually I try and slow down. When I can, I stop. But that's happened quite a few times. So, but the worst two were the first two when it happened on Thanksgiving, and then 8 days after Thanksgiving, and it's really scary. So, when I shared the long format video last night about Dear Meat for Dinner, Robert Arrington, I truly was not trying to get views based on his reputation. I hate that when people do that. That really sucks. But he is a mentor to so many YouTube channels. I wanted to share that because it also resonated in my heart. I kind of know uh, somewhat how he felt. And I'm not trying to liken myself to Robert Arrington because we're in different spheres. He's he's way beyond my capability, and his reputation is way better than mine. But um, I will say, like when I heard what was happening there, it really scares me. Uh, when it comes to death, I really death or permanent disability. I don't want to be a vegetable due to a stroke. That would just be the ultimate no. That like no. That and unfortunately you can't control that. It just happens. Um, so I'm going to be a little bit all over the board on this, trying to make a point. Um, Sometimes people are diagnosed with dementia, right? And like one classic example, I was going to save this for another video, but it kind of pertains to this conversation. Uh, when you have a stroke, it just kind of happens, and you have no control of what happens after that. Your right side or your left side could be permanently disabled. You might not be able to talk. You might drool a lot. There's a lot of crazy things that can happen with the stroke. Uh, your cognitive ability may still be there, but your ability to communicate and function is not there. So getting on with, like, if you're diagnosed with dementia, I like it that when I say liken it, it's almost like you're diagnosed with cancer, right? So a lot of people don't know this, but Robin Williams was diagnosed with dementia. Uh, I forget what it's Louis something, frontal Louis, whatever they call that. And then he decided he wasn't going to go through that process. So he went out and took his own life, right? So it's a very harsh topic, but it's reality. So uh, some people do that when they're diagnosed with cancer. And I'm not going to lie to you, if I was diagnosed with dementia or cancer or something like that, I'd probably be like Robin Williams. I'd probably just go on a one-way camping trip and just live it up and just, then that's it. But a stroke, you can't control that. A stroke or a heart attack, it's really bad. So those, there's, I don't want to go out in a long, drawn out situation where you're like gradually just decaying and becoming a useless person. So I don't want that to be me. Um, I definitely don't want to go out in a fire. That to me seems pretty horrific. Uh, Drowning, it's not one of my favorite ways to go, but I guess of the options, that might be one of the more less painful ones. But so yeah, so as far as when I posted that video yesterday about Robert Arrington, I truly 100% sincerely from my heart, I was just trying to share it like when I do a video, a long format video on my very small channel, less than 500 subscribers. If I have a good day, I might get 30 views. You know, that's a good day. But the people that I do follow and respect, and on my content list, my subscribers, a lot of them are YouTubers that participate in the outdoors. So I know Robert Arrington has been very impactful to them. I did not want to like ride on his coattails. That's a big thing for me. That's why I did not use the @ symbol or try and I think that's a cheesy way to get ahead. And I'm just not about that. But I never imagined in my wildest dreams. The last time I looked, I'm going to look right now, and I'm almost embarrassed to admit this because I feel very guilty at this current time. So let me see what this report's going to show us. Uh, oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I feel. All right, so I'm almost at I'm almost at 1,600 views on that video that I did yesterday afternoon, last evening, whatever it was, and I feel very guilty about that. Um, I was able to watch a follow-up video today. Uh, Mr. Robert Harrington is he's alive. He's home. He has a little bit of slurred speech. He was out there trying to fillet a fish, and it seemed to do okay. He's fully functional, but his brain and his communication skills haven't fully reconnected yet. So that's a very good positive thing. So anybody who's worried about deer meat for dinner at Robert Arrington, I shouldn't even say at because I just said I didn't want to say at. I'm not typing it in as at Robert Arrington. It seems like he's going to be okay. Hopefully, there's no recurring episodes, and hopefully, I don't have any more recurring episodes. But I'm very, very worried that that could happen because I do not have health care. So it's kind of like it's a waiting game. You just never know when your number is going to be called. And I'm sorry this video took much longer than I anticipated, but you know, I'm grateful that Robert Arrington's going to, it seems to be on the right road to recovery. So I'm very grateful for that because he's really helped a lot of people, and he's a higher value to society than I am. So if there was two options on who was picked to check out, I'll raise my hand. I'll exit stage right and let the greater man who's doing greater deeds for humanity stay alive. So peace out, folks. I appreciate you, and always, try and think of others. Always be very cognitive. If you're not sure, what that means, be very aware of your surroundings. Always try and look out for somebody, especially if there's elderly people, if it's hot out. If there's a power outage, always try and think of your neighbors. Is my neighbor elderly? Can I give her some water? Whatever you can. Always try and think of others. Peace out, folks. This is G Money. Going to exit stage right, but still going to be vertical for a while. We're going to talk about it soon again, folks.